What's up, everybody? It's Trey from Half Street High Heat. Welcome to a Q&A video. We asked you guys on Twitter to give us some questions about the Nationals or baseball in general, and you delivered, so let's get into it. What people, departments, or technology do the Nats need to implement to catch up with more analytical teams? Like, why are they so behind the curve? The Nats are behind the curve because they waited a lot longer than other teams to start implementing analytics into their organization. For the most part, they really just started this past offseason with the lower levels of the minors starting to implement stuff like that. There's also an article from the Washington Post about the fact that the Nationals do not have the Hawkeye camera technology in any of their ballparks, and that they are implementing them this offseason. And it's also about getting experience using the technology and using the numbers so that you can create a personalized approach for these guys. You know, some guys don't want all the numbers bombarding them all the time, but they still want to get better. Some guys do want to see the numbers and see exactly how they're performing. So you have to take that in consideration with these guys, and it's going to take some time. And hopefully we can start seeing some production soon. Of the young pitchers, who are you excited for the most? I like Gore a lot personally. I'm still most excited for Josiah Gray because every time he pitches, you can just see the potential. You can see that the breakthrough is just so close, and I feel like if he can unlock that next level, aka unlock his command, he's going to be a really, really good pitcher in this league. And I just hope that he can survive the Jim Hickey experience long enough to not completely get ruined by this organization, because guys, there's something there, and I know that you guys see it as I see it as well. You can look at his K numbers and see he's got the stuff. He just has to command it. I like that they're adding a sinker. I want them to focus completely on command, syncing up his delivery with his mechanics, and getting that command down. We can't be spraying the ball all over the place. We can't be walking guys. We got to get first pitch strikes. But once those come together, if they come together, I feel like Josiah has so much potential. Will the fact that the Angels stink and Judge's overwhelming stats keep Ohtani from winning MVP? I hope the baseball world is not becoming numb to how amazing Ohtani's two-way greatness is. You know, I tweeted something similar at the beginning of the season because you do kind of get numb to it once you see it a ton. But once you take a step back, you just got to take a step back every now and then and just think about it. Nobody's ever done this, and nobody's going to do it again for a long time probably. And yet, Aaron Judge is having one of the most unbelievable offensive seasons you will ever see. I really don't envy baseball writers this time. Normally, I don't really care, you know, because I think that the writers voting for awards isn't necessarily the greatest, but I do not envy them this time because I would not want to have to pick between Ohtani and Judge right now. However, I will give you some fuel and say I think Aaron Judge will win the MVP. Will anyone get traded from the Nationals this offseason, relievers or position players? There's really not much that the Nationals have in terms of trade value. If there's one position that they do have some trade value, it is potentially at first base. And I know people aren't going to want to hear this, but I think that Joey Meneses is probably a guy who will have some trade value if he continues to hit as well as he's hitting. And now this is, this is going to be a small sample size. If you trade him for a good prospect who you think will be a part of the future. Just want to get that out of the way right now. I also think Luke Voit would be a possible trade option. It's not because he's necessarily performing that great, but his advanced metrics are good enough to where a team might think that they can fix him. So I think at that position, there's possibility of a trade. I really don't think it's going to happen, but that's probably the position that has the most value for the Nats right now. Who is your preferred choice for new owner? You know, I'm not too particular about it. I'm just kind of ready for the learners to sell and just see a different approach, because they've really run it into the ground the last 3 seasons, and it feels like it's been a lot longer than it actually has been since 2019, just in the way that everything has come crashing down. So I'm ready to see a different approach, some new hands, some new brains getting on this thing and trying to turn it around. What are some potential free agent signings for the Nats this winter? You know, that's kind of tough because honestly, I don't think that there's that many if they're continued this rebuild as is, but because we don't know what the ownership is going to be and we don't know how they're going to want to spend, it's a little bit up in the air. So, but I'm gonna pretend, let's just say that the learners don't sell, which please let them sell, but let's just say that they don't sell and we continue going exactly how we're going right now. You're probably looking for your prospects that you just got from Soto, just to get some more development time in the minors. So let's look for some stopgaps. I really like CJ Abrams, but he doesn't have that much experience in professional ball at the plate. So I would assume he's going to start in AAA next year, and maybe you sign someone like Jose Iglesias as a one-year guy, potentially a guy you could trade, but probably not. But just a guy to fill the spot until Abrams is ready. I also think Ildemaro Vargas, welcome to the Nats for 2023. He's definitely going to get signed because he is this year's Escobar. Although I will say he actually has more value than Escobar because he will play multiple positions. And he's a guy that you could see end up in the shortstop spot at any point because this team's just not going to be good. Then I think you're looking at like a corner outfielder, a guy with some pop on a one-year deal, probably a lefty for this squad. So how about Joey Gallo? He's probably going to get like a one-year deal from whoever picks him up next year. So there's really no reason not to, because if he sucks, whatever, we're going to suck anyways. If he doesn't, maybe you get some trade value. Then you're looking at a starting pitcher. I'm not sure exactly how they're going to do it next year, but I would assume Gore and Gray will be starting. Corbin will be starting. So then you're looking at potentially Cavalli being on the opening day roster, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Steven Strasburg, who the hell knows what the hell he is going to ever do again. Joe Ross, same thing. So I think you gotta at least sign one guy that's reliable enough to be in the rotation, potentially two, but let's just go with one for now. There's plenty of good one-year deal options, plenty of them. We gotta sign one guy. Kyle Gibson, Andrew Heaney, Tyler Anderson, Jake Odorizzi, Taijuan Walker, somebody like that, Wade Miley, somebody like that, a guy that is maybe a veteran, maybe a guy who's looking to prove himself, maybe both. But either way, a guy who can be a starter and could potentially get some trade value. And then you look for minor league deals where you just look for guys who can eat innings after that. Which top prospect of ours are you most excited about? That's a phenomenal question. There's so many. But I would say right now at this particular moment in time, it's James Wood. James Wood is a 6'7" center fielder who absolutely rakes. He's got gap-to-gap power. He hits the ball all over the park, and he is currently playing center field. I don't know how long that's going to last. I would anticipate eventually him moving into the corner spot, but if he can play center field and hit as well as he's hitting, this dude's going to be a freak. What non-2019 Nats season was your favorite? That is easy for me. The answer is 2017 because I think that 2017's roster, in terms of pure talent, is probably the best Nationals team ever. Now, I'm probably actually going to do a video comparing and contrasting some of the best teams one day, but off the top of my head right now, 17 was pretty special. You had Zim's best season of his career, I think. You had Harper, who was going to win the MVP again, had he not been injured in that freak rain, whatever injury he got. You had Scherzer being Scherzer, winning the Cy Young as per usual. That was a year where Strasburg had a great year and stayed mostly healthy and had that awesome performance in the playoffs. And just a lot of winning. Winning is fun. It's fun to watch your team win every day. It's fun to feel like your team's going to win every day. And that's what I felt like in 2017 because the division was really bad and the Nationals were really good, and it was fun to expect to win. If Pineda continues his success, what happens with the current catching situation? Oh boy, so yeah, Israel Pineda has finally found it in the minors. There was a lot of concerns the past couple seasons with his lack of power, but he is raking right now. There was some concern because he hadn't really showed any of that power, but now he is definitely tapped into it. And they have challenged him. They have put him in AAA. So they're clearly wanting to get this guy reps against the best, so that they think that he is a guy that might be coming up probably next season. So now you got this guy Pineda, and you got this guy K-Bear Ruiz, who we just traded for last year, who's been starting at the MLB level all this season. Now here's the thing, I don't think that Pineda's success should have any impact on Ruiz, because what I think you can do is just play them both at the same time. If Pineda continues to rake at AAA, maybe you bring him up, maybe you make him and Ruiz just the catching tandem, and you DH the one that's not catching that day. And something we got to remember, K-Bear Ruiz is having a pretty good season. I mean, he's not hitting for power the way you maybe want or expect him to, but there's definitely a lot of good in his game at the plate, especially contact-wise. So if he does tap into that power, which I think he can potentially be a superstar catcher. He's still an above-average hitting catcher, and he's been pretty damn good on defense. So I think that there is definitely a way that both of these guys will be playing at the same time. And I think that Ruiz is not even in consideration for being replaced right now. Most underrated prospect in our system. Oh, that's a good question. There's so many. I'll go with 3 guys that I really like. Okay, so from the Nationals top 30, the guy that's actually on that list but is pretty low is Zach Brixey. He's a right-handed pitcher. He's a reliever, and he has been absolutely disgusting this season. This year, he struck out 85 batters in 55 innings this season, which is insane. So this is a guy with really, really good strikeout stuff. His command's a little bit erratic, but that's why he's probably going to end up being a reliever, and I think you're going to end up seeing him in the majors next season. My other guy who's not even on the top 30 is Darren Baker. I like Baker because he is seemingly a pretty versatile player in the field. He's good at multiple positions. So I think that's a big value as long as he can keep the bat at a decent enough level. I think he has potential to be a contact on base guy. He has a pretty high BABIP, but a lot of games that he's sustained that high BABIP, which means that he maybe doesn't hit the ball as hard as other guys, but he hits it in the right spots. So, it's kind of a long shot, but if he could develop into a guy who hits 300 with maybe a 375 on base percentage, and he's also a great fielder at multiple positions, you take that any day. And finally, the fact that Will Frizzell is not a top 30 prospect in the Nats organization is kind of a joke. In 41 minor league games this year, Will Frizzell is slashing 376, 432, 675 for a 1.107 OPS. Since he's been promoted to Fredericksburg, he has played in 30 games, and he has 11 home runs in those 30 games, which is just insane. I don't understand why he's not in the top 30. It's kind of ridiculous. I mean, it could be because he doesn't have a set position, but like this guy played at Texas A&M. He played in the SEC. He played against the best college guys that you can really play against. So, and he raked in his senior year in college. He's been raking this season. I don't really know how his stock hasn't risen, but regardless, this dude is a guy to look out for. All right, I think that's going to be the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for asking questions. If you want to ask questions next time, make sure to follow us on Twitter at @HalfStreetHighHeat. On the screen, written out exactly how it's on screen right now. Go follow us. You can also follow me at Reverse, 2 R's, 2 S's. Make sure to follow me. But like I said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.